The first day of school always felt like a battlefield for newcomers, but for 16-year-old Emily Parker, it was something far worse, a test of courage she didn't know she'd face before even stepping into the building. She clutched her backpack tightly, her fingers trembling as she walked through the towering gates of Ridgewood High, her loyal golden retriever, Max, trotting quietly by her side. The early morning sunlight stretched across the campus, glinting off the windows and lockers as groups of students laughed, shouted, and gossiped. Emily tried to blend in, to disappear among the sea of strangers. But her service dog made her stand out instantly. Whispers followed her, some curious, some mocking. "Why's she got a dog?" One boy muttered. "Probably some weirdo," another chuckled. Emily's throat tightened. She kept walking, pretending not to hear. Max brushed against her leg, his gentle nudge grounding her. He was more than just a dog. He was her comfort, her guardian, her reminder that even after the accident that had taken her father and nearly her own life, she wasn't alone. As she turned the corner toward her first class, the hallway grew quieter. A group of boys leaned against the lockers, their laughter sharp and deliberate. At the center stood one of them, tall, confident, and cold-eyed. Jake Reynolds, the self-proclaimed king of Ridgewood High. Jake's gaze followed her like a shadow. He stepped forward, smirking. Well, who's this new girl breaking the rules already?" His voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. Emily froze. I'm not breaking any rules," she said softly. He tilted his head. "No animals allowed in school. Didn't you read the code? Or maybe you think you're special." His friends laughed, their voices echoing down the hall. Emily's heart pounded. "He's my service dog," she said quietly. "He's allowed." Before she could finish, Jake slammed his locker shut, the sound cracking through the silence. "Not in my hallways," he said, stepping closer. "See, around here, you follow my rules. Got it?" Max tensed beside her, sensing her fear. The dog's ears pinned back, his eyes locked on Jake. "Come on, Jake," one of the boys muttered. "She's just a kid." But Jake sneered. "And I'm teaching her how things work here." He reached out, his hand brushing the side of Emily's backpack. And that's when it happened. A deep, guttural growl rose from Max's throat. His fur bristled as he stepped between Emily and Jake, baring his teeth. The sound silenced the hallway instantly. Jake jumped back, startled. "What the hell?" Max lunged forward, not to bite, but to stand firm, his body a shield between his girl and the bully. His golden coat gleamed under the fluorescent lights, his eyes fierce and unflinching. Students gasped, some stepping back, others pulling out their phones. Jake stumbled, his bravado cracking for the first time. Emily dropped to her knees, holding Max's collar gently. "Easy, Max," she whispered. "It's okay." Her voice trembled but stayed calm, soothing the trembling tension in the air. The principal's voice echoed moments later from down the hall. "What's going on here?" Jake quickly straightened. "She brought a wild dog in here, sir. It attacked me." Emily's face flushed red. "That's not true. He was protecting me." The principal, Mr. Thompson, looked between them, his gaze firm but kind. He noticed Max's service vest and sighed. "Mr. Reynolds, this dog is clearly marked as a service animal. You should know better than to provoke students." Jake's smirk faded. "I didn't." "Enough." The principal cut him off. "Emily, I'm sorry for the disturbance. You and Max are welcome here. If anyone gives you trouble, you come to me, understood?" Emily nodded, her throat tight. "Thank you, sir." As she walked past Jake, Max stayed close, his head high. For the first time in years, Emily felt safe, not just because of Max, but because she'd stood her ground. But Jake wasn't done. That afternoon, while Emily sat alone under a tree in the courtyard, Jake and his friends watched from a distance. "She embarrassed me," he muttered. "No one does that and gets away with it." His friend hesitated. "Man, leave her. It's just a dog." Jake clenched his fists. "Then the dog's the problem." The next morning, Emily arrived to find her locker vandalized. The word, crazy, spray painted across it in red. Her books were scattered on the floor, pages torn. Max whimpered softly beside her, nudging her hand. Tears welled in her eyes. It's okay, boy, we'll clean it up. But as she knelt to pick up her books, a familiar shadow loomed behind her. Told you, Jake sneered, my rules. This time, Emily didn't back down. She stood, meeting his gaze. You can break my things, but you can't break me, she said, her voice shaking but strong. And you'll never scare him. She gestured to Max, whose eyes glared fiercely at Jake. Something in her tone, something steady, defiant, made Jake falter for a second. But pride blinded him. He shoved one of her books off the bench. You don't belong here. That moment, a teacher's voice shouted, Jake Reynolds. Everyone turned. Mr. Thompson stood with 2 officers behind him. My office. Now. Later that afternoon, the truth spilled out. The cameras had caught everything. Jake's harassment, the locker vandalism, the threats. His reign of fear crumbled in seconds. He was suspended indefinitely. When Emily returned to class, whispers followed her again, but this time, they weren't cruel. They were admiring. That girl stood up to Jake. Her dog's amazing. Did you see how brave she was? Days turned to weeks. Slowly, Emily's confidence grew. Max became everyone's favorite. A gentle presence in the halls, wagging his tail at nervous freshmen and sitting beside students who felt alone. One afternoon, as Emily was leaving school, she saw Jake waiting by the gate. Her heart skipped, but Max stayed calm. Jake looked different. His eyes weren't cold anymore, just tired. Hey, he said quietly. Can I talk to you? Emily hesitated. About what? He swallowed. I wanted to say, I'm sorry. She blinked, unsure she heard right. My dad used to say only weak people pick on others, Jake continued, his voice rough. Guess that makes me the weakest of all. He looked down. You didn't deserve any of it. Emily's lips parted. For a moment, she saw not the bully, but a broken boy trying to make things right. Thank you, she said softly. Apologies don't erase what happened, but they mean something. Jake nodded. Then he knelt slightly, holding out his hand to Max. Hey, buddy, he said quietly. Max sniffed his hand, then, to everyone's surprise, licked it. Jake smiled faintly. Guess he forgives me too. Emily's eyes glistened. He forgives faster than I do. They both laughed, awkward, but real. Months passed. Jake joined the animal care club that Emily started, wanting to learn how to help others instead of hurting them. Together, they began visiting local shelters, training dogs to assist people with trauma and anxiety. Emily's story spread across town. The girl who stood up to cruelty, the dog who protected her, and the bully who learned compassion. One spring morning, during a school assembly, the principal invited Emily and Max onto the stage. The gym fell silent as Emily spoke into the microphone. Sometimes, she said, her voice trembling, people attack what they don't understand. But kindness can change even the hardest hearts. I came here, afraid. Today, I stand proud, because I wasn't alone. I had my best friend beside me. She looked down at Max, who wagged his tail, his golden fur glowing under the spotlight. And maybe, she continued, glancing toward Jake in the crowd, we all need someone, human or not, to remind us that love is stronger than fear. The audience rose to their feet, applause filling the hall. Jake clapped the hardest. As Emily stepped down, she felt tears on her cheeks, but they weren't from pain anymore. They were from peace. Outside, the sky was golden, just like Max's coat. She knelt beside him, hugging him tightly. We did it, boy, she whispered. We really did. Max barked softly, his eyes warm with pride, his tail thumping against the ground. And for the first time in a long time, Emily felt free, not because her bully was gone, but because she had found her strength, her voice, and the courage to forgive. Some stories end with revenge. Hers ended with redemption, and it all began with a growl. and a dog who loved her enough to stand up when she couldn't.